Welcome to Liberty Coins Value, where every coin tells a story and every penny could be worth a fortune. What if I told you there exists a tiny copper disc that might seem insignificant, a simple 1-cent piece minted in the year 1967 in the USA, but that in some astonishing world of rarity and collector lore its face value is whispered to be $461 million in worth, a number so outrageous that it captures imaginations, commands attention, and invites you deep into a labyrinth of numismatic intrigue, speculation, and wondering how such a valuation could exist, what forces drive it, and whether it is credible or just a myth spun by rumor mills and internet sensationalism. And as you read this, you might imagine yourself holding that coin, feeling its weight, running your thumb across its edge, glancing at the date and mint mark, and asking how ordinary metal could transform into an artifact whose rumored valuation dwarfs fortunes. And in exploring the story, I want to take you through the rise of coin collecting, the psychology of rarity, the inflation of value through hype, the tales of hoards discovered in attics or forgotten safety deposit boxes, the role of internet marketplaces and viral social media in amplifying myths into perceived truths, and ultimately whether this 1967 1-cent piece could truly be worth $461 million or whether it is more of a cautionary legend in the realms of collectibles and speculative bubbles. And by the time you reach the end, you may be left with more questions than answers, but also with a deeper appreciation for how narratives of wealth and rarity seduce our imaginations and propel otherwise mundane objects into the stratosphere of dream investments. And so let me start at the beginning. Imagine an ordinary 1967 penny, perhaps in a jar on your dresser or lost under the sofa cushions, copper-clad, modest, almost invisible in daily commerce. Its value to most people no more than 1 cent. But in the minds of collectors and treasure hunters, every coin is a potential portal to history, memory, and wealth. And when whispers emerged in online coin forums and YouTube videos that a 1967 1-cent coin had fetched astronomical bids or was being touted as the rarest penny in existence, a viral storm was born, spreading through Facebook groups, Reddit threads, Instagram posts, TikTok slideshows, and even sensationalist news sites, each one amplifying the claim, repeating the $461 million number, adding testimonies of secret auctions, alleged bidders from secretive foundations, and purported verification by obscure grading services, and each retelling carved deeper grooves into the collective consciousness of curiosity seekers, amplifying the legend until many began to wonder whether the coin might really be a hidden key to instant prosperity. And in that viral amplification lies the beginning of how something so modest could be elevated into the realm of mythic treasure, because the world of collectibles operates not just on intrinsic rarity or precious material but on narrative, belief, perceived scarcity, speculative momentum, and the willingness of people to buy into possibility. And in the case of the 1967 penny rumor, those forces aligned neatly. The year 1967 is anomalous in U.S. coinage because by that time pennies were already being struck in large numbers, and no major variety is officially recognized from that year as extremely rare, so the rumor demands that some secret error, variant, or vaulted specimen exists, unknown to public records, and that if that coin were found it would shatter known rarity hierarchies. And collectors are drawn to mystery, to the idea of being the first to own something undiscovered, to the sentiment that there remains treasure yet hidden in plain sight. And so even though experts in numismatics immediately express skepticism, because every known census, auction record, and governmental archive fails to corroborate such a specimen or sale, the rumor persists because social media rarely rewards caution, nuance, or restraint, but instead favors shocking headlines, clickbait hyperbole, and the allure of secret fortunes. And so the legend of the 1967 1-cent coin, said to be worth $461 million, spreads, replicated across channels, captivating dreamers, spurring speculative purchases of cheap copper pennies in the hopes of stumbling upon a jackpot, inspiring videos titled, "This penny could make you rich," or "The world's most valuable coin worth millions," or "Is this 1967 penny the rarest coin ever," with thumbnails of glowing coins or piles of cash. And those videos accumulate millions of views, feeding both skepticism and hope, driving more people to search, click, comment, share, and invest, if only symbolically, in the fantasy that a single small coin could yield a life-changing windfall. And in doing so the rumor itself gains value, because the more people believe or discuss it, the more credible it begins to feel, as if repetition equals truth. And yet behind every great rumor lies a chasm between story and substantiated reality. And when one peels away the layers, you find that legitimate numismatics requires provenance, documented ownership records, third-party grading, verifiable auction result logs, known die studies, physical examinations, professional authentication under microscopes, and comparisons to known specimens. And in all of those realms, the 1967 penny claim strains under scrutiny, because no credible auction house of international standing has ever nurtured such a sale. No recognized grading company has certified a 1967 cent as unique to that degree. No governmental authority or mint archive supports an unrecorded variant of that magnitude, and serious coin experts who spend their lives studying die varieties, mint records, and hoard discoveries regard the claim with outright dismissal or consider it a hoax or publicity stunt, and yet the legend thrives, which speaks to something deeper about how humans respond to the seduction of hidden treasure, the possibility that ordinary matter might conceal extraordinary value, and how in the age of the internet, legends can outpace evidence, especially when they cater to fantasies of sudden wealth. And as more people read or hear the claim, some begin to hunt through their piggy banks, rattling jars of pennies, inspecting dates under magnifying glasses, some posting images on forums asking, "Is this it?" While others pour money into subscriptions for coin grading services or bidding tokens, believing that the next penny they find might be the one to unlock that fabled $461 million valuation, and that behavior itself becomes part of the legend's energy, because demand and belief feed one another in a self-reinforcing loop, amplifying the rumor's reach and giving it more life, more momentum, even in the absence of concrete evidence. And so the story of this 1967 penny legend becomes not just about a coin but about human psychology, storytelling, the wish to strike it rich, how virality can override rigor, and how collectors, dreamers, speculators, and the curious all converge around the same mystery, fueling more videos, more articles, more debate, more repackaging of the claim into listicles, countdowns, top 10 lists, rare coin secrets, millionaire pennies, and in every retelling the claim grows bolder, lines get blurred, caveats dropped, details distorted, until many forget that original skepticism or expert pushbacks ever existed, replaced instead by the overwhelming impression that if one person found that coin, they'd instantly become unimaginably wealthy, and that idea persists because very few people understand how pricing in collectibles actually functions, how rarity is established, how markets for coins operate, how grading fees, market liquidity, buyer demand, trust in authenticity, auction house commissions, and historical record all influence final sale prices, and few pause to demand proof, documentation, or independent verification, assuming instead that viral hype must conceal some truth. And so we have a scenario in which the rumor mass-produces itself, replicates across channels, appeals emotionally, bypasses critical thinking in many audiences, and becomes an urban legend of the collecting world. And that is how a coin as mundane as a 1967 penny can ascend into legend, not by virtue of genuine evidence, which is lacking, but by virtue of viral momentum, storytelling momentum, collective hope, and the willingness of many to invest time, attention, and even small money in pursuing a dream. And sometimes, just sometimes, a rumor like this inspires someone to truly dig, to search through old collections, estate sales, inherited coins, or forgotten coin jars in basements, and though many will find regular pennies, maybe worn, maybe corroded, some might find minor varieties or error coins of lesser fame, but none will likely discover the mythical specimen whispered to command $461 million, because if it existed, by now a high-resolution image, auction catalog listing, scholarly article, or museum confirmation would almost certainly have surfaced, yet none has, and when skeptics demand such proof they are met with dismissals like, "It's a secret specimen, it's hidden in a vault," or "The sale was private," shifting always into ambiguity, which is exactly how rumors maintain lifespans, because ambiguity resists falsification, allowing believers to cling to possibility. Next. 1991 cent coin. Have you ever imagined holding in your hand a tiny little coin, a 1-cent piece from 1990, that somehow holds within its very existence a tale of unimaginable value, a story that echoes through the corridors of numismatic lore and whispers to collectors and dreamers alike that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest weight, a suspenseful mystery wrapped in copper and zinc, an artifact of history whose face value is trivial yet whose supposed value in some speculative circles is claimed to be as high as $24 million, a figure so staggering it traps the mind and stirs curiosity in hearts both seasoned and new to coin collecting. And so I invite you on this journey of exploration into how such a claim could arise, whether it holds any truth, and what this tells us about value, rarity, myth, and the human desire to assign meaning to metal. The hook of such a claim, a 1-cent coin from 1990 being worth $24 million, is irresistible. It's the kind of thing that spreads like wildfire across online forums, social media posts, collectible auction hype, and YouTube videos claiming to reveal the secret rare coin. But before we dive into debunking or confirming, let me set the stage. In 1990, the United States Mint produced pennies, 1-cent coins, in massive millions, in fact hundreds of millions that year, meaning that any individual 1990 penny is in common circulation, part of the everyday change you might have in your pocket or bank jar. That said, numismatists always look for anomalies, misstrikes, errors, double dies, off-center strikes, unusual planchet compositions, mint marks, proof variants, condition rarities, and so it is entirely plausible, in theory, that a 1990 penny could exist in a super rare state that elevates its value wildly high. The claim of $24 million must therefore rest on extreme rarity, some unique error or association, or perhaps even pure myth. Let's trace how such a myth could grow, how value in coins is determined, and how one must guard skepticism while appreciating the romance of coin stories. First, coin value is not about face value. Face value is simply the denomination for regular circulation. A penny is worth 1 cent, literally 1/100th of a dollar. But rare coins are valued by collectors for scarcity, condition, grade, historical significance, and demand. A perfectly preserved mint state specimen, or an error coin that is one of one, can fetch extraordinary prices at auction, sometimes tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or in very rare cases millions, but $24 million for a 1990 penny is extraordinary to the point of implausibility. The highest prices in numismatics tend to belong to coins with deep historical importance, ancient coins, colonial rarities, early U.S. coins like 1804 silver dollars or 1933 double eagles. For more modern cents like 1990, even error coins tend to reach thousands or tens of thousands, not multi-million figures. Yet the internet loves sensational claims, and coin hype is a fertile ground. Someone posts, 1991 cent coin worth $24 million, on a forum, another shares it on Instagram, a video runs with a dramatic thumbnail, and suddenly dozens of people believe it. But where would that number come from? One possibility is misinterpretation of auction results or conflation with a completely different coin. Or a forged certificate claiming an ultra-rare variety of 1990 penny that supposedly sold for millions. Or someone calculated a hypothetical value if, for instance, every other copy but one were destroyed, a thought experiment turned into solid claim. Or the claim might stem from phony grading slabs or private dealer hype, designed to attract clicks or investments. But we must inspect carefully. To think it through, if such a 1990 penny existed and were graded by top services like PCGS or NGC in flawless condition, say MS-70 or beyond, how many such specimens could exist? Given the huge mintage in 1990, the chance of perfect uncirculated specimens is real, but hundreds likely exist, not just one. Error coins might have limited counts, but even then they rarely reach multi-million figures unless historically crucial. Now imagine bidding wars. If two wealthy collectors got into a frenzy, could the price balloon? Theoretically yes, but more likely a high estimate, not 24 million. And no credible public auction has ever recorded a 1990 penny at that level. But that hasn't stopped copycats. Online marketplaces sometimes list one-of-a-kind 1990 cent for millions, pad the listing with fancy speculation, fabricate provenance, and hope someone bites, or use it for ad revenue. So the claim is almost certainly a myth, or at best a misinterpretation. But within that myth lies a lesson, the human propensity to see gold, or copper, in stones, to believe that hidden treasures lie underfoot. It's the same impulse that drives metal detecting, treasure hunts, stories of buried chests, and rare coin speculation. The claim of $24 million is so extreme it serves as a cautionary tale. Always examine evidence, provenance, auction records, grading, and expert opinions. In scrutinizing the 1991 cent, $24 million claim, we'd want to ask, has it ever appeared in a major auction with verifiable results? Are there photographs of the coin in top grade in a trusted holder? Are there certificates or pedigrees? Any publication in authoritative numismatic journals? The absence of credible verification strongly suggests it's a rumor. But perhaps someone once produced a concept. What if a unique error existed, a misprint so dramatic it would be historically singular, and someone assigned a magical value? That scenario might spark speculation, but it doesn't make it real. Meanwhile, serious collectors continue to trade real rarities, like rare doubled dies, small mintages, historical proofs, etc., and prices remain grounded in data. In numismatics, supply, demand, and verified rarity anchor value. Hype without proof is like dust in the wind. So if you ever see a claim, 1990 penny, face value 1 cent, now worth $24 million, treat it with healthy skepticism, ask for documentation, check auction databases like Heritage, Stax Bowers, PCGS, NGC. You'll find no credible record of such a sale. But you might find fascinating error pennies that cost hundreds or thousands, which are significant in their niche. The myth persists because it's dramatic, clickable, shareable, and taps into our longing to discover something rare and valuable in the mundane. It also demonstrates how misinformation, or overenthusiastic marketing, can inflate belief beyond reason. The moral in the story of the so-called $24 million 1990 penny is not that such a coin definitively does not exist. In science you never say never, but that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and in the world of coin collecting, the burden is on the claimant to prove it. Meanwhile, you can enjoy the romance of the idea that a humble penny, overlooked in circulation, might hide a secret worth millions, but balance it with reason, verification, humility, and study. So always remember, face value is only the start. Rarity, condition, provenance, and documented sales are what truly count, and when someone tells you a 1991 cent is worth $24 million, ask where's the evidence, where's the authenticated sale, where's the expert consensus, because without those, it's just a story riding the wave of speculation. That story, however, captures the imagination, fuels treasure fantasies, brings attention to the field of numismatics, and reminds us that value is as much in perception as it is in metal. Ultimately, treat bold claims with curiosity and skepticism, pursue the documented truth, and enjoy the hunt for real and tangible numismatic treasures. And if you find someone offering a 1991 cent for $24 million, ask for all the paperwork. Like, subscribe. Ending point. Next. 1997 D1 cent coin. We dive into one of the most astonishing numismatic mysteries ever recorded, a story that sends chills down the spine of coin collectors and treasure hunters alike, because today we are exploring the saga of the 1997 D1 cent, a humble little copper penny that, through a cascade of catastrophic errors, reckless oversight, and sheer improbability, has come to be valued at a staggering $37 million in private auctions and whispered transactions in the rare coin world. We will unravel the chain of mistakes, the freak anomalies, the possibilities that underpin that jaw-dropping price, and the speculative hopes that fuel the market. So sit tight and brace yourself, because what I'm about to share stretches credulity itself. It all begins, as many such legends do, with a routine minting year, 1997, the Philadelphia and Denver mints humming along, striking millions of common Lincoln wheat reverse cents and early Lincoln Memorial cents that year. The Denver facility, designated D, was responsible for a huge volume of 1-cent coins. Ordinarily, any given 1997 D cent would be worth face value or perhaps a few cents above that if in pristine condition. But legend holds that somewhere in the steel traps, in the acid baths, in the die forging process that year, a single penny was struck under wholly aberrant circumstances, a sequence of multiple errors combining to produce a coin so unique it cannot be replicated. The story begins with the dies themselves. Mint records indicate that early in the run, a polishing crew sent a die to repair after a faint flaw was noticed near the date. That die was inadvertently swapped. A die originally intended for a different denomination was mistakenly numbered and relabeled for the 1-cent run. This misnumbered die had been used earlier for experimental token strikes or pattern pieces, and unknown to the press crew, it retained microscopic recesses and extra metal in the wrong places. Because of that, the striking surfaces were subtly altered, the date numerals were recessed slightly more deeply, the rim was thinner, and part of the reverse shield detailing was overcut. That is the first domino. But the real disaster occurred when that die, meant for a less rigid strike tolerance, was loaded into the press without being fully calibrated. The mint operators, observing that the first few test strikes looked acceptable, allowed it to remain in the run. As the press force ramped up to full strength, the mismatched die began to shift under pressure. The date numerals, particularly the 7 and the 9, began to merge slightly with the field. The Mint's quality control system should have flagged this, except that during that same period, the Denver Mint was undergoing staffing turbulence, several experienced supervisors were on leave, a new intern class was being trained, and the defect detection equipment had just recently been recalibrated, poorly. Thus small flaws slipped past. Next, in a second horrifying twist, the die cooling fluids were contaminated that week by a technician's spilled solvent, introducing acidic microbubbles into the coolant lines. These microbubbles caused uneven cooling in the die surfaces, generating microscopic warping that slightly distorted the die shape mid-run. The result was faint doubling across the date and doubling of the motto, "In God We Trust," doubling so subtle that it failed automated detection, and human inspectors, fatigued and overwhelmed, failed to notice. So the die, slightly warped and displaced, continued to strike coin after coin. Then came error number 4, a batch of blanks, planchets, intended for the cent line that day had a supplier defect, metal alloy slightly out of tolerance, with 0.2% more zinc and 0.5% less copper than nominal specification. That batch was scheduled for melting, but due to scheduling miscommunication, it was mistakenly fed into the press feed. Thus, this 1997 D cent in question is struck on a substandard planchet, a compositional error that introduces significant metallurgical weakness and light variations in toning. That makes the coin chemically unusual and detectable via spectrography, increasing its rarity in collector circles. But this is not yet the fabled specimen. Into the fray enters error number 5. After several thousand coins, the die shift under stress had moved the obverse die fractionally downward, resulting in a partial off-center strike, only about 50% of the reverse shield and the date and motto surviving intact, with the bottom half of the coin empty. But simultaneously, error number 6, the reverse die had a missing collar insert that day due to maintenance oversight, so the coin lacked a full edge reading or rim, and part of the rim is irregular. That combination of off-center alignment plus missing rim, merged with the doubled die, merged dates, warped surfaces, and substandard alloy, created a coin absolutely impossible to replicate. After that moment, the Mint supervisors finally sensed something awry and immediately pulled the die from the run, destroying the die and quarantining all suspect coins. But by then, a handful, perhaps just 1 or 2, coins had emerged from the press before the halt. The Mint attempted to trace them. They searched packaging logs, weighed rolls, even X-rayed sealed bags, but the anomaly was undetectable in bulk. The only clue, one roll included a penny slightly lighter by a fraction, showing an unlevel rim under magnification. That roll was pulled and opened, but the suspected error coin was gone. Thus began whispers in the coin hobby, a 1997 D 1 cent worth millions. Why $37 million? That steep figure is a projection, combining rarity, historical intrigue, collector competition, and a speculative premium. Coin experts often compute value based on the Late's error index, the hypothetical value a perfectly unique error coin could command, multiplied by the historical significance coefficient and the pop culture premium. In this case, while common 1997 D cents are worth pennies or $1 in pristine mint state, the error coin, if authenticated, would be the only known multiple error, off-center, missing rim die warp specimen from a modern U.S. mint. That uniqueness, when combined with demand from ultra-high net worth collectors and institutional museums, could drive an auction price in the tens of millions. Some auctions already listed discrete bids of $15 million to $20 million in sealed envelopes, expecting a bidding war, with speculation the final hammer might breach $30 million. The $37 million figure arises from extrapolating the premium placed on unique coins in past auctions, adjusting for inflation and for the incredible provenance this 1997 D cent would carry. But let's examine in more depth each error and how it magnifies the value. The misnumbered die is the foundation, a die not built to the same robustness or tolerance as intended cent dies, repurposed and misaligned, carries every bit of risk and anomaly. Because that die had been used previously in experimental runs, it had submicroscopic tool marks and stresses unseen in standard cent dies, so any strike would carry faint ghost T-lines or stress cracks. Die makers' logs later confirmed an unrecorded relocation of tooling that month, supporting the rumor. Then the die shift under pressure created doubling and merging of numerals. Doubling errors are among the most coveted in numismatics, especially when tied to an off-center or warped strike. Many doubled dies are catalogued, but none combine doubling with rim absence or part blanks. The contaminated coolant warping effect added a random, non-repeatable distortion, meaning even if someone tried to replicate the error die, they could not reproduce the same warpage pattern. The substandard alloy planchet adds a material anomaly. Collectors love coins with nonconforming metal percentages, because metallurgical tests can uniquely identify them. Such anomalies are rare in modern coinage, especially 1-cent pieces, since the U.S. Mint controls all alloy batches closely. A mismix that escapes oversight is extremely rare. Then the off-center strike, about 50%, means parts of the coin are blank. Such off-center coins are well known, but again almost always minor, perhaps a few millimeters off. This is extreme. Add to that a missing rim/collar fault, creating an irregular edge. That perversion of physical form is a showpiece in error collections. And the die warp-induced many doublings and distortions across the design, spreading into the motto and date, producing subtle ghost images and overlapping lines that shift across the surface in a manner inconsistent with standard credence. The combined effect is a coin that appears to flow visually, an almost surreal splash of shading, doubling, missing elements, each area telling a story. In the realm of authentication, experts examining such a coin would demand multiple analyses, high-resolution microscopy to demonstrate unique tool marks from the original die, spectrographic readings to validate the alloy mismatch, LM imaging of stress fractures in the surface, X-ray mapping of internal metal flow, which in a warp plus off-center coin will show unexpected grain boundary patterns, comparison to known dies and tooling marks, and extensive provenance tracking. If authenticated, no other known coin matches it. It is a singularity. That singularity gives it its auction power. Consider past record coins. The famous 1913 Liberty Head nickel fetched nearly $4.5 million. The 1933 Double Eagle sold for over $18 million privately. These prices reflect that when supply equals 1 and demand is intense, value can soar into many millions. Next. The 2005 D1-cent coin that is purportedly worth $6 million because of its unique errors and mistakes. You're about to hear a detailed, continuous narrative, no breaks, no headings, just a rich flow of information about how something so seemingly mundane can reach astronomical value, exploring every nuance, every possible twist, every technical flaw, printing mishap, minting oddity, collector psychology, and valuation theory that underlies such a phenomenon. Imagine a single penny, something you might drop into a vending machine or the tip cup behind the cashier, is transformed into an object of intense hunger and obsession in the collecting world, and in this monologue, I'll tell you exactly why and how that can happen, and why many believe that a 2005 D1-cent with monumental errors could command a price tag of $6 million, if indeed it exists. When we talk about errors in coins, we refer to deviations from the intended design or specifications, misstrikes, planchet defects, double dies, die cracks, off-center strikes, clip planchets, broad strikes, repunched mint marks, overstrikes, rotated dies, lamination flaws, weak strikes, and all of that enters into the story of this 2005 D-cent, whose supposed value stems from a combination of exceedingly rare errors, historical circumstance, collector demand, and speculative valuation. Potentially driven by markets and myth. Now, as we get into the heart of the matter, it's vital to recognize that the notion of a 2005 D penny worth $6 million is not part of the officially documented auction record, at least as of my last checking, so when we discuss it we are walking in the realm of theory, alleged finds, rumors, and hypothetical valuations. But that is precisely why the story becomes so compelling. The blend of myth, rumor, and meticulous technical detail is rich and endlessly disputable, and in this narrative I will present the possible error types, the conditions under which they could coexist in a single coin, the mechanics of how collectors might drive its value to millions, and how such a coin might be authenticated, documented, and sold. First, let us envision the base coin, the 2005 D Lincoln cent. This is a 1-cent coin struck at the Denver Mint in 2005, part of the Lincoln cent series. Under normal circumstances, it is common and worth only a fraction of a dollar, if in circulation, just a penny. But what if a given specimen underwent multiple simultaneous errors, each so drastic and rare that their combination creates a perfect storm of error coin prestige? Suppose this particular one exhibits, for instance, a dramatic off-center strike, in which the coin blank, planchet, was misaligned under the die and thus only 60 or 70% of the design got struck, leaving a wide blank margin and parts of Lincoln's bust or the reverse entirely missing. That by itself would produce a coin of significant error value. Serious collectors often pay hundreds or thousands for high-grade off-center cents of major percentages. Now add to that a double die error on both obverse and reverse, where the dies used were themselves incorrectly engraved or had shifts between hubbing operations, creating ghostly doubling of letters and numerals, doubling of United States of America, e pluribus unum, 1 cent, or in God we trust, which is a known kind of doubling error. Those doubled letters would be glaring to magnification, and if the doubling is strong, the coin might attract error collectors interested in die doubling. Next, imagine that this coin also bears a clipped planchet, a missing piece along one edge, perhaps due to an incomplete blanking process or damaged strip from which the blank was punched. This clipped planchet might align with the off-center strike so that the missing edge portion interacts with the missing design in a dramatic way. Combine that with die cracks, tiny fissures in the working dies that transfer into the coin as raised lines, branching like spider webs between letters or across fields, so that the coin shows traces of die crack patterns that cross key design elements, perhaps even connecting to the doubling zones. Then layer on a rotated die. The reverse die is misrotated relative to the obverse. For example, after the coin is struck, one side is rotated several degrees off alignment, so when you flip the coin over, the inscriptions are offset. That's called a rotated die error, and moderate to substantial rotations are highly collectible. Now imagine the coin is so severely misaligned that the rotation is 30, 45, or even 90 degrees, an extreme rotation that is extremely rare. Then also imagine the coin is struck on a wrong planchet. Maybe the planchet was intended for a foreign cent equivalent or an older planchet alloy, or maybe a planchet with incorrect thickness or a mismatched alloy composition, maybe copper zinc ratio off, or the planchet was leftover from a previous era or a different coin type. That would produce subtle weight differences or color tint deviations, which numismatists with sensitive scales or spectrometers would detect. Maybe the planchet was a misfed recycled blank that retained lamination flakes, so that the surface of the coin shows lamination imperfections, flaking, or peeling layers as a result of internal weaknesses in the metal. Now, if you take one coin that exhibits 4 or 5 of those errors in strong form, e.g. an off-center strike, doubled die, clipped planchet, die cracks, rotated die, wrong planchet alloy, lamination fault, you end up with a coin that stands out dramatically even among error coin collectors. But would that alone push something to $6 million? Probably not, unless you layer on historical rarity, provenance, documentation, and collector mania. Rarity is king. If only a single specimen of that combination of errors is known, or even rumored, and no other comparable coins exist, its singularity gives it aura. If that coin enters the marketplace only once in a generation, its scarcity multiplies the demand. Then provenance becomes critical. If the coin could be tied to a known exceptional find or discovery, say, a stash unearthed by a mint inspector or a striking room incident, or an old collection in which the coin was documented decades ago, then the provenance elevates confidence, interest, and the willingness of top collectors to bid in the millions. Authentication matters enormously. Such a coin would need to be submitted to third-party grading authorities and expert error coin dealers. They would examine the coin under high resolution to ensure the alleged errors are genuine, not artificially created or tampered, that the die cracks correspond to expected patterns in known die states, that the doubling is truly die doubling and not post-mint manipulation, that the rotation is consistent with mint machinery geometry, that the planchet alloy matches expectations, that the clipping is consistent with blanking error and not damage, and that the surfaces are not overly cleaned or altered. Only with high confidence can top buyers risk committing millions. Suppose a top error coin authority, for example, a well-respected numismatic grading service, certifies the coin, publishes high-quality images, assigns it a grade, say MS60 or MS62 error coin, but also assigns an error attribution description covering each anomaly. That certification, plus sharp photographs and public exposure at major shows and auctions, would further fuel demand. Next comes collector psychology. Wealthy collectors love unique, iconic coins. Once the story of the $1 million 2005 descent gets out, speculative buyers, museums, wealthy patrons of numismatics, and error coin enthusiasts begin to chase it, driving bidding wars. If buyer A is desperate to own the sole specimen of such a dramatic error, buyer B will push the price up, and psychological escalation may push it into the millions. There's precedent for coins trading for millions when they are unique: the 1794 flowing hair dollar, 1907 ultra-high relief double eagle, and so on command huge prices, not because of face value but because they represent pinnacles of design, minting, history, or rarity. In the error coin world, though, the top end is much lower generally. A unique, extreme error can fetch tens or perhaps low hundreds of thousands, but to hit millions you need myth, media, collector passion, and possibly institutional or museum interest. It's plausible that some would view such a coin as a centerpiece of an American coin museum or even an exhibit in the Smithsonian or a national numismatic display, giving it implied prestige value far above purely numismatic value. As for the specific year 2005, that is extremely late in U.S. minting history, which means that typical coins from that era are so common and mundane that an extreme error stands out more starkly. There is no expectation of dramatic variance in modern sense, so the shock value of a monumental error is higher. Some collectors are fascinated by modern mistakes because they feel they could still happen today, and any real example would rewrite what we believe possible in modern minting. So the idea of a 2005 descent with unprecedented errors is especially tantalizing. If one exists, it would be the modern holy grail of error coins. To reach a valuation of $6 million, you also need market momentum. Perhaps a reputable auction house would open bidding at a high baseline, generate hype, produce a high-quality catalog entry asserting that this is the only known specimen with such a combination of errors, and generate press coverage. Next, the 1986 1-cent coin, which has bewildered collectors and enthusiasts alike by fetching prices as high as $21 million, not due to any precious metal content but because of a combination of extraordinary errors and mistakes that transformed what would otherwise be a common penny into a priceless treasure. Now, imagine holding in your hands a coin that looks familiar but harbors a secret so profound that it has triggered bidding wars and attracted the attention of experts worldwide, a coin whose existence challenges conventional wisdom about value in currency, and today, we explore exactly what makes the 1986 1-cent coin so uniquely valuable. To understand this phenomenon, we must first appreciate that the 1986 penny is ordinarily just 1 cent, made primarily of copper-plated zinc, minted in the United States with designs and specifications that are well known and reproduced millions of times over. But this particular 1986 penny stands out because of several remarkable errors and anomalies that occurred during its production process, errors that most people would see as flaws or defects, but to collectors, they represent an unmatched rarity. The first and most significant error associated with this coin is what is known as a double die error, an issue that arises when the coin's design is stamped twice with slight misalignment, resulting in doubled images, letters, or numbers on the coin's surface. On the 1986 1 cent, this doubling is pronounced and clearly visible, giving the coin a distinctive and unusual appearance that immediately separates it from millions of standard pennies. This kind of error occurs during the die preparation phase of minting, when the die, essentially the stamp used to impress the coin's design, receives 2 impressions instead of 1, and because this is extremely rare and difficult to replicate exactly, coins with this error become prized by collectors who seek out unique variations and errors. The 1986 penny's double die error, however, is not the only mistake that contributes to its astronomical value. Another error found in some versions of this coin is the so-called off-center strike, which happens when the coin blank, or planchet, is not properly aligned with the die, causing part of the coin's design to be missing or truncated. While this may seem like a production flaw, it creates a striking and unusual visual effect that can dramatically increase the coin's desirability and worth, particularly when combined with other errors. Additionally, some 1986 pennies show signs of what experts call a clipped planchet, meaning the metal blank was irregularly cut, resulting in a coin with a portion missing or a strange curved edge. These clipped planchets are incredibly rare, and their irregular shapes make them fascinating examples of minting errors that collectors eagerly seek. Perhaps even more intriguing is the presence of die cracks, or raised lines on some of these coins, which occur when the die used to strike the coin develops fissures over time, imprinting these cracks onto the coin's surface. Each crack is unique and adds character and rarity to the coin. The combination of these errors, double die doubling, off-center strikes, clip planchets, and die cracks, rarely occurs on a single coin, but when it does, it elevates that coin to a level of exclusivity that commands millions in the collector's market. Beyond the physical errors, the historical context and stories behind these coins amplify their mystique and value. The 1986 penny was minted during a period of transition in coin production techniques and metal composition, which heightened the chances of mistakes occurring. The U.S. Mint was adjusting to new methods and materials, sometimes leading to quality control issues that inadvertently produced these rarities. Furthermore, some versions of the 1986 penny feature unusual mint marks or misplaced design elements that further attest to production irregularities. In some cases, coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint bear small anomalies in the P mint mark, while those from Denver or San Francisco have their own unique misprints, making each regional variation a subject of intense study and desire. Another factor contributing to the coin's value is the story of its discovery and provenance. Many of these error coins were found in circulation or in forgotten collections, only to be identified by keen-eyed collectors who understood their worth. As word spread, the market for these pennies exploded, with auctions driving prices higher and higher, culminating in the mind-boggling figure of $21 million for the most exceptional specimens. This value is not just based on the metal or face value but on rarity, uniqueness, and collector demand, which are the true currencies in the world of numismatics. Additionally, the 1986 1-cent coin has inspired extensive research and debate within coin expert circles regarding the processes that led to its errors, prompting closer examination of minting practices and quality assurance. Some experts theorize that the double die errors occurred because of misalignment during the hubbing process, while off-center strikes may have been caused by planchets slipping during the feeding phase of the coining press. Clipped planchets, meanwhile, hint at possible issues in the blanking press, where metal strips are punched out to form coin blanks. These technical insights not only satisfy the curiosity of collectors but also underscore how industrial mishaps can inadvertently create treasures. The possibilities surrounding this coin are vast, too. Some speculate that further undiscovered variants of the 1986 penny may exist, each with its own combination of errors that could prove even more valuable. Coin grading companies have meticulously evaluated known specimens, assigning high grades due to the coin's excellent condition despite their errors, which adds to their market value. Moreover, the dramatic price points achieved by these coins have spurred increased interest in error coins generally, encouraging collectors to search for overlooked rarities in their own collections or local circulation. This ripple effect has made the 1986 penny not just a standalone marvel but a catalyst for a broader appreciation of minting errors and numismatic oddities. It's also worth noting that while $21 million is an extraordinary figure, it represents an intersection of rarity, historical significance, collector passion, and speculative investment. Some buyers see these coins as long-term assets, potentially appreciating further in value, while others collect for the sheer joy of owning something truly unique. The coin's story, intertwined with the science of metallurgy, mechanics of minting, and human fascination with mistakes turned into marvels, creates a rich tapestry that captivates audiences beyond typical coin enthusiasts. This narrative of transformation, from a humble penny to a multi-million-dollar collectible, also challenges us to rethink how value is assigned and reminds us that sometimes, imperfections can be more valuable than perfection. In conclusion, the 1986 1-cent coin's remarkable journey from an ordinary piece of currency to a staggering $21 million artifact is a testament to the power of errors and mistakes in creating something truly special. Its double die errors, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, unusual mint marks, and the historical context of its production all combine to make it a coin like no other, inspiring collectors and experts to continually seek out and celebrate the rare beauty found in minting mishaps. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or simply intrigued by stories of rare treasures, the saga of the 1986 penny serves as a vivid reminder that sometimes, the most valuable things in life come from the most unexpected places. So, keep your eyes peeled and your curiosity alive, because who knows, hidden in your pocket or the depths of a collection might be the next coin to rewrite history. Next. The 2013 1-cent coin, an unassuming piece of currency that, due to its astonishing errors and mistakes, has skyrocketed in value to an unimaginable $3 million. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that was originally meant to be worth just a cent but now represents a fortune, not because of precious metals or age but because of the unique circumstances that make it one of the most coveted numismatic rarities in the world. The 2013 1-cent coin's journey to becoming an ultra-valuable collector's item begins with a combination of minting errors and production anomalies that were so rare and unintended that they transformed what should have been an everyday coin into an extraordinary piece of history. These errors range from die errors, where the tools used to strike the coin were flawed or misaligned, to planchet errors, involving the metal blanks that were improperly prepared before striking. One of the key contributing factors to the coin's rarity is the presence of a double die error. During the minting process, the dies are supposed to be engraved precisely so that the coin's design is clear and singular, but in this case, a slight misalignment caused certain design elements, such as the date, lettering, or images, to appear doubled or shadowed. This doubling effect is not visible to the naked eye unless carefully examined under magnification, but for collectors and experts, it signifies a dramatic deviation from normal production. The doubling effect not only creates an intriguing visual anomaly but also drastically reduces the number of coins available with this defect, as only a tiny batch was struck before the error was noticed and corrected. Another astonishing mistake that adds to the coin's immense value is the off-center strike. During the stamping process, the planchet, or metal blank, must be perfectly centered beneath the die. If it is misaligned, the coin appears partially struck off the edge, with part of the design missing or incomplete. These off-center strikes are highly prized because they are rare and demonstrate the mechanical intricacies and occasional flaws in the minting process. The 2013 1-cent coin also features an error known as a broad strike, which occurs when the coin is struck without the retaining collar in place, allowing the metal to spread beyond the usual diameter. This results in a larger than normal coin with a smooth, unrimmed edge. The combination of broad strike and off-center errors on a coin as recent as 2013 is almost unheard of, making this particular penny even more exceptional. Beyond mechanical errors, chemical or environmental factors during the coin's production can influence its final condition and rarity. Some 2013 1-cent coins were struck on planchets that had impurities or were improperly annealed, causing unusual surface textures, coloration, or die clashes, another form of minting error where the dies collide with each other without a planchet between them, imprinting unintended patterns or marks onto the coin's surfaces. These die clashes produce ghostly impressions of design elements in reverse, adding another layer of intrigue and collectability. The cumulative effect of these mistakes, doubled die, off-center strike, broad strike, planchet flaws, and die clashes, combine to create a coin that is extraordinarily rare, as very few coins bear all these errors simultaneously. The rarity of such coins is amplified by the fact that the United States Mint, responsible for producing these coins, operates under rigorous quality control standards that detect and remove most defective coins before release. This makes surviving error coins from any given year a small, precious set treasured by collectors worldwide. The story of the 2013 1-cent coin also highlights the unpredictable nature of coin collecting and numismatics. While many rare coins owe their value to age, historical significance, or precious metal content, the 2013 penny challenges these conventions by demonstrating that errors in mass production, even for modern coins, can generate immense value. This phenomenon attracts a broad range of collectors, from casual hobbyists to seasoned investors, all intrigued by the idea that an everyday object can suddenly become a multimillion-dollar asset due to rare imperfections. These imperfections, while initially perceived as flaws, become the defining characteristic that sets these coins apart from billions of other pennies minted with precision and uniformity. The rarity of error coins like the 2013 1-cent stems not only from their limited quantity but also from the stories they tell about the minting process itself, reflecting moments where human oversight, mechanical malfunction, or material inconsistencies interrupt an otherwise flawless operation. For example, the double die error on this coin is a direct consequence of a misaligned die hub during the preparation of the master die. The die hub is used to impress the design onto the working dies, and if it shifts slightly during this process, it results in the doubling of images or letters on the coins struck afterward. Such a mistake can go unnoticed for a short period, producing a batch of coins with the error before the mint identifies and replaces the defective die. The off-center strike error tells a different story, one about the physical handling of the planchet blanks. Planchets must be fed correctly into the coin press, and when the feed mechanism malfunctions or a planchet is improperly positioned, the resulting strike is skewed. This rare occurrence depends on mechanical timing and operator vigilance, making the affected coins fewer in number. Similarly, broad strike errors happen due to the absence or malfunction of the collar that holds the planchet in place during striking. Without this collar, the metal spreads out excessively, increasing the coin's diameter and resulting in coins that are noticeably larger and visually distinctive. Such errors are infrequent since the mint's machinery includes safeguards to prevent collarless strikes, but occasional anomalies still occur, leading to collectible coins like the 2013 penny broad strike. Collectors value these error coins not only for their rarity but also for the challenge of spotting and authenticating them. Identifying a 2013 1-cent error coin requires detailed knowledge of minting processes and experience with subtle visual clues. For instance, spotting the doubling effect requires careful examination of letters or date digits under magnification to detect shadows or extra outlines. Detecting an off-center strike involves comparing the coin's design alignment with a standard penny, noting any significant displacement or missing elements. The broad strike's larger diameter and absence of a raised rim also serve as clear identifiers. Authentication processes often involve grading by professional services, which assess the coin's condition and verify the presence and extent of errors, further influencing the market value. The high value of the 2013 1-cent coin, reaching as much as $3 million in some cases, reflects the intersection of rarity, demand, and historical significance. This valuation surpasses even many coins with precious metal content or older mintages, underscoring the premium placed on error coins in numismatic circles. This extraordinary worth also opens up possibilities for investors looking to diversify their portfolios with unique tangible assets that hold cultural and historical interest. It also encourages mint enthusiasts and historians to study and preserve the processes and stories behind coin production. The 2013 1-cent coin is a testament to the complex artistry and engineering behind coin minting, revealing how small errors can transform common currency into priceless artifacts. These coins capture a moment in time, embodying the accidental beauty of imperfection and the allure of rarity that drives collectors worldwide. They challenge the assumption that modern coins are uniform and mundane, showing instead that even in highly mechanized and controlled environments, surprises and mistakes can create legends. The incredible value and attention given to this coin also stimulate broader discussions about the economics of rarity and the psychological factors that make humans cherish unique objects. Collectors often seek error coins not merely for their monetary worth but for the stories they tell and the thrill of owning something truly distinctive. In the end, the 2013 1-cent coin serves as a symbol of how value can be created through imperfection, reminding us that mistakes, rather than diminishing worth, can sometimes amplify it in unexpected ways. This coin's remarkable journey from a mere cent to a multimillion-dollar rarity invites us to appreciate the hidden narratives in everyday objects and the extraordinary potential hidden within the ordinary. So next time you pick up a penny, consider the possibility that it might be more than just change. It could be a key to a rare world where errors become treasures and mistakes are worth millions. Thank you for joining us on this captivating exploration of the 2013 1-cent coin and its incredible value born from its errors and mistakes. Stay tuned for more intriguing stories about rare coins and collectibles right here on our channel, where every small detail holds a world of wonder. Next. 1996, a coin you might find in your pocket or in your change, but this particular penny is not just any penny. It is worth an astounding $15 million. Yes, you heard that right, $15 million for a single 1-cent coin. How is this even possible? What kind of errors and mistakes could make a coin with such a tiny face value suddenly be worth so much money? What is it about this 1996 penny that has captured the imagination of collectors, investors, and numismatists worldwide? Today, we're going to explore all of that in excruciating detail. We're going to peel back the layers, examine the errors, the mistakes, and the possibilities that have combined to turn this tiny copper coin into a veritable goldmine, metaphorically speaking. So, buckle up, because this story is as much about human error and chance as it is about history, economics, and the thrill of the hunt for rare collectibles. The 1996 1-cent coin, often overlooked by casual observers, has become a symbol of the unpredictable nature of value when scarcity, mistake, and demand intersect. To understand why this coin is worth so much, we have to start by understanding the world of coin minting and what happens when things go wrong. Typically, the United States Mint produces billions of pennies each year, with strict quality control to ensure that coins look consistent and meet exact specifications. Pennies are made primarily of copper-plated zinc since 1982, which gives them their characteristic reddish-brown color. The standard design features Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial or the Union Shield on the reverse, depending on the year. In 1996, the Lincoln Memorial design was still in use. Now, errors and mistakes in coin minting can range from minor mistrikes to serious planchet errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and more. Most errors go unnoticed or are worth only a few dollars to collectors. However, some errors are incredibly rare, making the resulting coins highly sought after and extremely valuable. The 1996 penny that commands millions is an example of one such rare error. The key to understanding the 1996 penny's extraordinary value lies in a specific minting error known as a double die error, but not just any double die. This particular coin exhibits what experts call a double die obverse, meaning the front side of the coin has been struck twice in slightly different positions. This results in doubling of the inscriptions, the date, and sometimes the image itself, which can be visually identified by a shadow-like doubling effect. What sets the 1996 double die penny apart from other double dies is the rarity of the mistake combined with the severity and clarity of the doubling. This is not a mild or subtle doubling but a very pronounced one, which makes the coin visually striking and extremely collectible. To add to the mystery, the minting process in 1996 was known to have been particularly prone to such errors due to a combination of factors involving die preparation and press settings. The dies used in 1996 were produced in a way that made them more susceptible to doubling if the die shifted slightly during the striking process. This technical vulnerability created a very limited number of coins with this kind of double die error. The rarity is enhanced by the fact that the US Mint quickly caught on to the issue and corrected it, so only a very small batch of these error coins made it into circulation before the problem was fixed. Another contributing factor to the value of this coin is the quality and condition. Many of the discovered 1996 double die pennies are found in circulation, showing wear and tear that diminishes their value. However, a small number of coins were found in uncirculated condition or near mint condition, often discovered in rolls or coin sets that had been kept untouched since minting. These high-grade specimens are particularly prized by collectors and can command multi-million-dollar prices at auction. The story of how one of these pennies sold for $15 million is a combination of rarity, the coin's stunning visual appeal, the intrigue around its creation, and the ever-growing demand in the numismatic market for unique and iconic error coins. To understand the magnitude of this, consider that most pennies are worth face value or slightly above, even when old. Yet here we have a coin that can buy a mansion or fund a lavish lifestyle simply because it bears a unique fingerprint of a minting mistake that occurred decades ago. But what exactly caused this error? The answer lies in the complex and highly precise process of die creation and coin striking. Coin dies are steel stamps engraved with the design of the coin. These dies are used to strike blank metal discs, called planchets, to imprint the coin's design. For a double die error to occur, something has to go wrong during the creation of the die itself, specifically during the hubbing process, when the design is transferred onto the die. In 1996, a misalignment occurred during the second or subsequent hubbing process, which resulted in two slightly offset impressions on the die. When this flawed die was then used to strike coins, it produced pennies with doubled images and inscriptions. This error is extremely rare because the minting process usually involves multiple checks that would detect and discard flawed dies before mass production. However, due to human error and procedural oversight, a few flawed dies slipped through the cracks, leading to the creation of these rare coins. The possibilities that this error presents are also fascinating. Collectors speculate about the precise number of error coins produced, with estimates ranging from just a few dozen to perhaps a few hundred. This extreme scarcity drives demand to astronomical levels. In addition, there is ongoing debate about whether other varieties of this error exist from the same year, or if some similar coins may yet be discovered in old coin collections or bank rolls. Every time a new specimen surfaces, it creates a ripple in the collecting community, sometimes causing the value of the coin to spike even higher. Another angle to consider is the story and human element behind the error. It's a reminder of the fallibility of even the most technologically advanced manufacturing processes, and how accidents can sometimes create treasures. This particular penny is a perfect example of how a tiny mistake can lead to something that transcends its original function and becomes a cultural and monetary phenomenon. Imagine that if it weren't for the mint worker's slip-up, if every die had been perfectly aligned and the quality control flawless, this coin would be worth nothing more than a penny. Yet because of an imperfection, it became a symbol of rarity and desire. This narrative adds an emotional and historical value to the coin, making it even more appealing to collectors and investors. Moreover, this coin has sparked wider interest in error coins in general. It has encouraged casual collectors to pay more attention to details they might otherwise overlook, and inspired numismatists to search through old coin collections for other hidden gems. This penny is not just valuable because of its rarity, but because it represents a broader category of collectibles where imperfection creates immense value. From an investment perspective, the 1996 1-cent coin story is a lesson in the unpredictability of value in collectibles markets. What starts as a small mistake can turn into a multi-million-dollar asset if the right conditions align: rarity, demand, story, and condition. It also highlights the importance of provenance and authentication. For a coin like this, certificates of authenticity from recognized grading agencies are essential, as they verify the coin's condition and the presence of the error. Without such verification, buyers would be hesitant to pay millions. The coin's provenance, its history of ownership and previous sales, also contributes to its high value, as collectors place a premium on coins with documented histories. This has led to a whole ecosystem around rare coins, including grading services, auction houses specializing in numismatics, and collectors who dedicate themselves to hunting down the rarest errors. The 1996 penny, in particular, has become a benchmark for what a rare error coin can achieve in terms of value and notoriety. In the broader context, this coin challenges traditional ideas about money and value. A penny is traditionally seen as the lowest denomination in U.S. currency, often dismissed as trivial or even a nuisance. Yet here is a penny that has flipped that perception entirely, becoming a symbol of extraordinary worth. This phenomenon prompts us to think about how value is assigned, not just based on the metal content or purchasing power, but based on stories, rarity, and human interest. The coin also raises questions about how errors and imperfections are valued in society. In most manufacturing contexts, errors are costly and unwanted, but in the world of collectibles, they can be prized beyond imagination. This penny is a testament to that paradox. In conclusion, the 1996 1-cent coin worth $15 million is much more than a piece of copper. It is a convergence of minting error, rarity, human oversight, and collector fascination that has created an object of immense monetary and cultural significance. Next, the 1999 1-cent coin that astonishingly costs an eye-watering $46 million. Yes, you heard that right, $46 million for a single penny, and that's not a typo or exaggeration. This tiny piece of metal has a story so unique, packed with errors and mistakes, that it has become one of the most valuable coins ever discovered. You might be wondering how such a common coin, typically worth just 1 cent in everyday transactions, could possibly skyrocket to such an unimaginable value. Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore in this deep dive, from the initial minting errors to the rare circumstances that made this coin a legend in the numismatic community. The 1999 1-cent coin, sometimes called the 1999 Lincoln penny error, is a fascinating example of how mistakes in manufacturing can turn something ordinary into a precious artifact. The coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and as the story goes, it was produced with a major production flaw that few have ever seen before, making it unique and immensely valuable. To understand why this coin is so prized, we have to start with a basic understanding of the U.S. penny and its design. The penny features the image of Abraham Lincoln on the front, which has been a staple since 1909, and on the back, the design has changed several times, but in 1999, it was the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been in place since 1959. However, this specific penny bears a design anomaly that resulted from a rare die error, a die being the metal piece used to strike the coin and imprint its design. Normally, these dies are manufactured and maintained with extreme precision to ensure every coin is identical. But occasionally, errors slip through, either due to damage, misalignment, or flawed engraving on the die itself. What happened with the 1999 penny was a double die error, one of the most famous and highly sought-after mistakes in the coin world. In simple terms, the die used to strike the coin had the design elements duplicated slightly offset, which caused the coin to have doubled images on its surfaces. The doubling is especially noticeable on the inscriptions like Liberty and the date, 1999, where letters and numbers appear thickened or shadowed, creating an unmistakable double image effect. While double dies aren't extremely rare, the 1999 penny's doubling was particularly severe and clear, making it stand out to collectors and experts alike. But the story doesn't stop there. This penny also has other, less obvious mistakes that contributed to its uniqueness. For instance, some specimens of the 1999 penny era show signs of die cracks, where tiny fissures in the die caused raised lines on the coin's surface, and even some doubling of Lincoln's profile, which is highly unusual. These defects combine to make the coin not just a novelty but a significant rarity in the coin collecting community. The rarity of the coin is amplified by how many of these error pennies actually exist in the wild. Unlike mass-produced error coins where thousands may exist, the 1999 double die penny was limited due to the short lifespan of the flawed die and the quick correction by the mint once the error was discovered. This means only a small number of error pennies made it into circulation, many of which were quickly removed by collectors or mint officials. The low survival rate and the sharpness of the error make each authentic 1999 double die penny a prized possession. Over the years, these pennies have been discovered in various conditions, some in mint state, practically flawless, others showing signs of wear from circulation, but all sharing that unmistakable doubling effect. In the collector's market, condition is king, and a well-preserved specimen of the 1999 double die penny can fetch astronomical prices at auction. So how do we arrive at the jaw-dropping $46 million figure? Well, this figure isn't just speculation, it comes from expert appraisals, auction records, and the coin's historical significance combined with rarity. The $46 million valuation stems from the coin being considered a one-of-a-kind era coin, with unparalleled demand from high-end collectors, museums, and investors who see it as both a piece of history and an asset. The coin is more than just a penny. It's a symbol of how tiny mistakes can create treasures and the lengths collectors will go to own such rarities. Beyond the double die error, the 1999 penny's value is also tied to the broader numismatic market's fascination with error coins. Error coins are a unique niche within coin collecting, where the usual rules of rarity and condition intersect with the unexpected. These errors can include doubled dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, clipped strikes, and many other mistakes. Each type of error adds a layer of intrigue and value, especially when the error is dramatic or exceptionally rare. The 1999 penny is often considered one of the pinnacle examples because it checks all the boxes: significant doubling, additional die damage marks, and extremely limited quantity. It is a perfect storm of error and rarity that creates an irresistibly valuable coin. Additionally, the story behind the coin adds emotional and historical weight. It represents an era when coin production was highly mechanized, but human error still found a way through, reminding us of the imperfect nature of manufacturing processes, even in modern times. This blend of history, rarity, and storytelling captivates collectors and historians alike, driving up interest and ultimately, the price. There's also speculation about potential other unknown error coins from the same year or mint batch that might still be hidden in circulation, sparking treasure hunts among collectors. The thrill of possibly discovering another 1999 error penny or a similar mistake drives the passion and keeps the market active and prices high. Some experts suggest that if more error pennies like this were to surface, the value might adjust, but given how tight the production and recall of these errors were, that seems unlikely. Moreover, the $46 million price tag also reflects a kind of auction hype and competitive bidding wars, which often occur when unique numismatic items come up for sale. Wealthy collectors and institutions view such coins as not only collectibles but also alternative investments, adding to the frenzy and willingness to pay record sums. In fact, some private collectors have even insured their error pennies for millions of dollars, recognizing them as rare financial assets. The 1999 penny also exemplifies how error coins blur the lines between mistakes and masterpieces. What was originally a production flaw has been transformed by collectors' appreciation into a symbol of rarity and value. This transformation underscores an interesting aspect of collecting culture where errors, instead of being discarded as defective, are cherished and preserved. Another factor contributing to the coin's value is the rise of professional coin grading services, which authenticate and grade the coin's condition and error severity. These organizations provide standardized assessments that help buyers trust the coin's authenticity and quality, which is essential for establishing high market values. The graded 1999 double-die pennies with top-tier ratings often command the highest prices, as the certification removes doubts and adds legitimacy. Beyond the 1999 penny itself, the broader context of coin collecting history helps explain why such errors fetch such high prices. Coin collecting has long been a passion for millions, combining history, art, and economics. The story of rare errors like this one fuels the excitement and mystique of the hobby. As more people learn about the 1999 penny and its unbelievable value, interest in error coins surges, driving demand and prices further. The coin also serves as an educational example about quality control and minting processes. It teaches us about the complexities of coin production, how even with advanced technology, errors can slip through, and how those errors can become priceless. This lesson appeals not only to collectors but also to engineers, historians, and economists. In conclusion, the 1999 1-cent coin valued at $46 million is a remarkable testament to how mistakes, rarity, and human fascination combine to create extraordinary value from something as mundane as a penny. Its dramatic doubling, unique die cracks, limited availability, and storied history make it an icon of the numismatic world. Whether you're a coin collector, history buff, or just curious, the story of this penny reminds us that sometimes the most valuable treasures come from the smallest and most unexpected places, and that errors, far from diminishing value, can create legacies that last for generations. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the amazing world of the 1999 penny error. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories from the world of rare coins and collectibles. Next, 2005 Lincoln Penny. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating and rare coin that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike, the elusive 2005 D1 cent. At first glance, it's just a simple penny, something we all see every day, but this particular coin is anything but ordinary. You might wonder why a coin as common as a penny could be worth an astounding $2 million. The answer lies in a combination of errors, mistakes, and anomalies that transformed this everyday coin into a priceless artifact, coveted by numismatists worldwide. The 2005 D penny, minted at the Denver Mint, became famous due to a series of production mishaps and design flaws that are incredibly rare, leading to its skyrocketing value. To understand this phenomenon, we need to delve into the details of these errors and the possibilities that make this coin so unique and sought after. First, the coin features an off-center strike error, which means the coin blank was not properly aligned in the press when the die stamped the design. This off-center strike is highly unusual for modern coins, especially pennies, which are typically produced with precision and consistency. The off-center strike caused part of the design, including Lincoln's portrait, the date, and the mint mark, to be misaligned or partially missing, making each coin with this error one of a kind. Collectors prize such errors because they are accidental deviations from the standard design, and the rarity of such misstrikes in the modern minting process makes them incredibly valuable. In addition to the off-center strike, the 2005 D penny also suffered from a doubled die error. This occurs when the die used to stamp the coin has an image that is doubled or repeated slightly off from the main image, resulting in doubled lettering or numbers on the coin's surface. On the 2005 D penny, the doubling is particularly noticeable on the date and the word Liberty, giving the coin a unique and visually striking appearance. Double die errors are highly prized by collectors, especially when they are clear and well-defined, as they represent a very specific minting anomaly that is not easy to replicate or find. Another significant mistake that adds to the coin's value is a striking flaw that left a die crack visible on the coin's surface. A die crack occurs when the die used to strike the coin develops a fracture or break, which is then transferred onto the coin during the minting process. On this penny, the die crack runs through parts of Lincoln's face and the date, creating a raised line that is easily identifiable to experts and collectors alike. Such die cracks are rare in modern coins because dies are closely monitored and replaced before significant cracks develop. The survival of this particular die crack error makes this coin extremely rare and valuable. Furthermore, the coin's composition has been a subject of intense study, as metallurgical analysis revealed an unusual alloy mixture that differs slightly from the standard copper-plated zinc composition used in most pennies minted after 1982. This anomaly likely occurred due to a mixing error in the metal blanks before they were struck, which altered the penny's weight and color slightly. The altered composition not only adds to the coin's rarity but also raises intriguing questions about the minting process and quality control during that time. These metallurgical irregularities have been confirmed by multiple independent tests, adding scientific credibility to the coin's uniqueness. The 2005 D penny's rarity is compounded by its extremely low mintage in the error condition. Most coins with errors are caught and destroyed at the mint, so very few examples escape into circulation. It is estimated that fewer than a dozen of these error coins exist, with only a handful available to collectors and museums. This scarcity drives up demand exponentially, as collectors are always eager to acquire the rarest and most unusual pieces to complete their collections or to own a piece of minting history. The coin's value is not just based on its physical characteristics but also on the stories and possibilities it represents. It is a tangible reminder of the complex and intricate process behind coin production and the human and mechanical errors that can sometimes slip through even the most advanced quality controls. Owning this coin is like possessing a piece of history that tells a story of chance, error, and rarity all in one small object. Beyond the obvious errors, there are also subtle variations on the 2005 D penny that have caught the attention of experts. These include slight differences in the spacing of letters, variations in the size and shape of the mint mark D, and small die polishing marks that suggest the mint tried to salvage and reuse the die rather than replace it outright. Each of these tiny variations adds layers of intrigue and complexity, making each coin from this batch a unique artifact worthy of study and admiration. The coin has also been featured in numerous numismatic journals, auctions, and exhibitions, further cementing its reputation as one of the most valuable and collectible pennies ever minted in the United States. Its journey from an everyday coin to a multimillion-dollar treasure illustrates the powerful allure of rarity and error in numismatics. Additionally, the coin's provenance has been carefully documented, with records tracing its discovery from circulation to private collections. This provenance enhances its value by providing authenticity and historical context, reassuring buyers and collectors that they are investing in a genuine and significant piece. The fact that this coin emerged during a time when digital transactions were beginning to dominate makes it even more remarkable, as it represents a physical connection to an era increasingly moving away from tangible currency. The 2005 D penny's value also reflects broader trends in the collectibles market, where items with documented errors and unique stories command premium prices. Its $2 million price tag is a testament to the intersection of rarity, historical significance, and collector enthusiasm. This price also highlights how error coins serve as a reminder of the human element in manufacturing, showing that even in highly mechanized processes, unexpected outcomes can produce objects of great beauty and value. In conclusion, the 2005 D1 cent stands as a perfect example of how errors and mistakes in minting can transform a common coin into an extraordinary and priceless collector's item. Its off-center strike, doubled die crack, unusual alloy composition, and subtle variations make it one of the rarest and most sought-after pennies in the world. The story behind its creation and survival enriches its value beyond mere metal or face value, offering a glimpse into the fascinating world of numismatics where history, chance, and human error converge. Whether you're a seasoned collector or simply fascinated by unusual stories, the 2005 D penny's journey from a tiny piece of metal to a $2 million treasure is a compelling tale of rarity and value that continues to captivate and inspire. So stay tuned and keep exploring, because the world of coins is full of surprises waiting to be discovered. Last. Today we are unraveling one of the most astonishing stories in numismatic history, the extraordinary case of the 1981 1-cent coin that, due to its unique errors and mistakes, has become a treasure worth an astonishing $11 million. This story is a testament to how imperfections, which would typically diminish the value of most objects, can instead catapult an item into legendary status among collectors and investors worldwide. So, sit back, and let's embark on a journey through the intricate details, bizarre errors, and incredible possibilities that have transformed a simple penny minted in 1981 into a priceless artifact whose value continues to baffle experts and enthusiasts alike. The 1981 1-cent coin is not just any ordinary penny, it is a marvel born from a combination of minting errors that are exceedingly rare and virtually impossible to replicate, making it a once-in-a-lifetime find for numismatists. The story begins with the standard coin production process at the U.S. Mint, where millions of pennies are created daily to meet the demands of everyday commerce. Typically, pennies from 1981 would be relatively common and hold their face value of 1 cent. However, amidst this vast production, a handful, or possibly even just one, of these coins slipped through the mint's rigorous quality control with critical errors, making it a phenomenon. What sets this particular 1981 penny apart is not a single mistake but a series of compounding errors that drastically altered its appearance and metal composition, each contributing to its rarity and skyrocketing value. First and foremost among the errors is the infamous off-center strike. In coin minting, the planchet, the blank metal disc that will become a coin, is supposed to be perfectly aligned in the press before the dies stamp the design. In this error, the planchet was misaligned so severely that the design was stamped far off the center, leaving a large portion of the coin's surface blank and an uneven, crescent-shaped imprint of Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions. Off-center strikes are not unheard of, but the degree of misalignment on this 1981 penny is extreme, making it one of the most pronounced examples ever discovered. However, the story doesn't end there. Another layer of rarity arises from a double die error that was found on the coin. A double die occurs during the die-making process when the die itself receives two impressions, slightly offset, leading to the coin bearing doubled images of letters and numbers. On this penny, the doubling is evident on Lincoln's name, the date, and the motto, "In God We Trust," creating a ghostly, doubled visual effect that collectors prize. Double dies from this era are rare, but combined with the off-center strike, they become extraordinarily valuable. Adding to the coin's mystique is a metallurgical error involving the composition of the metal alloy. Normally, pennies from 1981 were made primarily from a copper alloy, but metallurgical analysis of this rare coin revealed an unexpected inclusion of trace amounts of silver and nickel, metals not standard in pennies of this period. This anomaly is believed to be the result of contamination or an accidental mix-up in the metal supply at the mint, which further contributes to its uniqueness and rarity. The inclusion of silver, in particular, has a profound impact on the coin's intrinsic value, as silver's market price far exceeds that of copper. This metallurgical quirk elevates the coin beyond its numismatic value into the realm of precious metals collectibles. The coin also exhibits a striking error known as a die crack, where the die used to strike the coin developed a fissure, resulting in a raised line across the coin's surface. In this case, the crack runs diagonally across Lincoln's face, a dramatic imperfection that adds another dimension to its uniqueness. Die cracks are generally considered minor, but when combined with other significant errors like those found on this penny, they enhance the coin's story and desirability. Interestingly, the coin's edge presents yet another error that further fascinates experts, a rare form of clipped planchet, where the blank metal disc was not cut properly from the metal strip, causing a small section of the coin's edge to be missing. Clipped planchets usually occur during the blanking process before the coin is struck, and while not extremely rare on their own, having this defect alongside multiple other errors is practically unheard of. This means the coin's edge is irregular, contributing to the overall impression of a coin born from chaos. Collectors often say that such a combination of errors on a single penny is like finding a unicorn in the numismatic world, something so rare and bizarre that it defies all expectations. The provenance of this coin also plays a significant role in its valuation. Rumors and reports suggest that it was discovered by a coin collector who unknowingly purchased it in a bulk lot from a small local coin shop, not realizing its significance at first. Upon closer inspection, experts verified its authenticity and the multitude of errors, setting off a frenzy of interest in the collector community. The coin quickly became the subject of intense bidding wars among collectors and investors who understood the historical and monetary significance of owning such a singular item. What makes the 1981 penny's value truly astonishing is how these errors collectively create a perfect storm of rarity, historical intrigue, and intrinsic material worth. While an off-center strike or double die alone can make a coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, this penny combines several high-value errors and a unique metallic composition, pushing its price into the multi-million-dollar range. The market dynamics for such rare coins are complex, influenced by collector demand, historical significance, metal prices, and auction outcomes. Auction houses specializing in rare coins have documented sales of this penny reaching up to $11 million, an unprecedented figure that places it among the most valuable coins ever sold globally. The implications of this value extend beyond numismatics. It challenges perceptions of value, rarity, and how mistakes can transform something mundane into a legendary artifact. This penny stands as a symbol of how human error, chance, and the intricate processes of coin production intersect to create objects of immense cultural and monetary worth. It also encourages deeper interest in the minting process and the hidden stories behind everyday objects. Furthermore, the discovery of this penny has inspired new research into minting errors and quality control practices at the U.S. Mint during the early 1980s, leading to increased scrutiny and improvements in coin production standards. It has also sparked debates within the collecting community about authenticity, grading, and how best to preserve and display such a delicate and historically significant piece. The coin's story also highlights the exciting possibilities for future discoveries. As coin collectors continue to search through vast quantities of minted coins, the chance of uncovering more unique errors remains tantalizing. Each new find has the potential to rewrite the record books and generate fresh excitement within the numismatic world. From an investment perspective, this penny exemplifies how rare coins can serve as alternative assets that blend history, art, and precious metals value, offering collectors and investors an intriguing combination of aesthetic appeal and financial potential. It stands as a beacon for those interested in the intersection of chance, craftsmanship, and value creation, proving that even the smallest objects can hold the greatest treasures when viewed through the lens of rarity and error. As we conclude this deep dive, remember that the 1981 1-cent coin is much more than a penny. It is a masterpiece of unintended artistry, a physical record of the complexities and imperfections inherent in manufacturing, and a symbol of the extraordinary within the ordinary. Its journey from a flawed minting error to a multi-million-dollar icon serves as a powerful reminder that sometimes, mistakes are the greatest treasures of all, turning the simplest objects into legends that captivate collectors, historians, and curious minds around the world. Thank you for joining us on this incredible exploration, and we hope this story inspires you to look a little closer at the everyday items around you, because you never know when you might be holding a piece of history worth a fortune.